Animal resources contribute significantly to the world economy. In Africa, the livestock sector contributes between 30 to 50% of agriculture GDP and supports the food security and livelihoods of about one-third of Africa's population. However, due to differences in capacity and supporting policies of various players, the desired sector progress is not achieved. From December 2017 to June 2023, AU-IBA, with funding from the European Union and contributions from the African Union member states, implemented the Sustainable Development of Livestock for Livelihoods in Africa Live2Africa Project to strengthen the systematic capacity of continental, regional, and national livestock sector for the sustainable transformation of the African livestock sector. Some of the many project interventions undertaken with the regional economic communities, member states, and various stakeholders are captured here.
This particular project is aligned to a strategy we call the Livestock Development Strategy for Africa, which has a lifespan of 2015 to 2035. And this strategy talks about transforming the livestock in the African continent, given the importance of livestock in this continent. And Live2 is a continental project implementing the continental component of that strategy. Component 1 talks about promoting investments. Then there is a component on animal health. The other component talks about production and managing of natural resources. The other component then talks about technologies. So we have another component dealing with the resilience of livestock production, and another very important component dealing with access to markets, because you produce, you go to sell. It's also talking about delivery of services. The project looks through livestock development from a value chain kind of development lens.
So each regional economic community in Africa, there are 6 of them, chose a particular value chain they think can bring the best returns. East Africa chose dairy, IGAD chose live animals and red meat. The Central African Regional Economic Community chose poultry eggs. West Africa chose poultry meat and eggs. North Africa chose dairy. And Southern Africa, that is the South Africa Development Corporation, SADC, chose ruminants.
In North Africa, for the Arab Maghreb Union and Egypt, the project developed the genetic and natural resource strategy for enhancing dairy sector productivity.
We started even the stakeholder consultation on what is needed to support the dairy livestock value chain in North Africa. And those stakeholders give us the direction. So the 3 main intervention, they list many, but when we prioritize that, they have the first one is genetic improvement of indigenous dairy animals. The second priority was to better utilization of feed resources, because in North Africa generally, the feed resources is a challenge, because we have a lot of desert areas in many of the North African countries, and we have high producer animals, and so we have a gap between the availability of feedstuff and the producing animals. The third one was capacity building. They need to have a capacity building for the producer, particularly the producers. And then we developed what is called dairy genetic gain system for North Africa. The purpose of this was to integrate the whole value chain to maximize sustainability and profitability of the dairy system in North African member states.
In the Eastern African community, AU-IBA supported member states to develop the East African Regional Dairy Strategy that will see a more competitive dairy industry by encouraging public and private sector investment, strengthening capacities for intra- and inter-regional trade.
We hope that the strategy that we have developed and agreed upon will be implemented across and domesticated in all the countries. And that should lead, first of all, into improved trade. Currently, we are doing about 1% of total production is what is traded within the East African community. But we expect the strategy to help us boost that to at least about 10% over the next 5 years. And in terms of collaboration and coordination, we expect better product movement within the community. As you know, we have a common external tariff, but also we have what we call non-trade barriers that crop up from time to time among members. And once you have that growing, then the sector also at the bottom in terms of production will grow.
Enhancing innovation and utilization of technologies was a key priority to spur higher competition, regulation, product development, and commerce. On the 28th April 2023, the Mobile Assisted Reproductive Technologies Center of Excellence was launched at the AU IBER head office in Nairobi and handed over to the Kenyan government to enhance breeding techniques in the country.
This program has aided and supported the government of Kenya in ensuring that there is increased productivity. As a government, we are, since they're handing over this project to us, the equipments that they have purchased, it's now a donation to the government, and therefore we shall continue using these equipments in the development of our livestock sector in the country. We are also going now to support them within other programs that we have in the government, so that this comes an additional to the programs that the government is running. And one thing that it has helped is on capacity building, which is the role and responsibility of the government to ensure that we capacity build our farmers. So now we have seen this community is ready, they are going to drive this process themselves. And therefore, looking at the breeding programs of the government, the community now is going to be in the forefront because they have been capacity built. They are now able to do this on their own.
The Mobile Assisted Reproductive Technology Center of Excellence is really a laboratory that is a one-stop shop, where you will have all these technologies, the multiple ovulation and embryo transfer technologies. AI will also be done, that through this mobile lab, we will be able to access and do dissemination of quality seed. With this center, we can drive to very remote areas and set up and come up with a very easy way to do insemination, to do our AI, to interact with the farmers. I was even thinking we could even piggyback on this for vaccination.
For us, we are happy that we are part and parcel of this technology which is started. So they started with us, and we are happy because it was a very big success for the community. Now we have 333 total calves from AI program, and currently we have 170 bulls. At the same time, we have 133 heifers.
On 2nd May 2023, a 4-day training of trainers workshop was held in Naivasha to build capacity of selected participants on utilization of the Regional Mobile Assisted Reproductive Technologies Center of Excellence.
One of the key things that we realized is that despite these technologies being available to Africa, the knowledge base is wanting. So it is very important for us to avoid having a white elephant sitting in the offices, but rather to ensure that we improve capacity in terms of technical competence. These are the champions who are going to push the agenda of assisted reproductive technologies at their center, but not only their center. We've asked them to take this action very seriously. They are going to move into regional actions and even contribute towards the continental perspective.
To me, I would say it's a refresher course because that's what I've been doing. But here we are also learning more and more. Yeah, we've done the practical part, which is knowing the anatomy of the female and the male reproductive system. Now we are in the practical of actually doing the AI itself.
And we've also learned about the semen corrections, right from how we correct from the bulls. We've learned a lot about the anatomy of both the male and the female. Now we are able to know even how to handle the semen, how we are going to, we can preserve even for many years. So the forum is of great importance to us.
We are the people who pass information to the farmers. So if we don't get things right, if we don't get that refresher course, it would be very detrimental, because what we are taking to the farmers should actually be the actual thing that is happening. And we get on toes to know of the current technologies which we are able to take to the farmers, not being backdated, but being updated with the current technologies, just to what the training has actually done to us. It's updating our system, and we're able to take the right message to the farmers.
AU IBA, as a key stakeholder in the meat industry in the region, supported the second Kenya Meat Expo under the theme Promoting a Resilient Meat Industry Through Investment and Innovation for Job Creation and Economic Growth. The expo took place at Kenyatta International Conference Center from 3rd to 5th May 2023, attracting several stakeholders. The majority of livestock found in arid and semi-arid lands face challenges of feed, water, conflict, and diseases, among others. Interventions of Live2Africa in addressing some of the challenges included a regional stakeholders validation workshop and the regional policy dialogue, which was held on 26 April 2023 in Naivasha, Kenya.
We have created interest in among the players to think in a corrective manner. And we have worked with them and established platforms that bring them together to talk about issues they have in common, and therefore develop solutions themselves, because the challenges, they know the challenges, they know the solution. All they need is facilitation. We have also worked with the member states to continue consolidating their capacity in contributing to international fora on standard setting.
The shared resources that are found across the borders are also the hotspots for conflicts. And when herds move across the borders to access these areas, there are both positive and negative impacts. And some of the positive impacts is that during such kind of movements, there is trade among these communities, livestock trade among these communities, but there are also social ties that are strengthened as they interact regularly. And this is very good for peaceful coexistence and sharing of resources across the borders.
In the South African development community, AU IBA aided growth in the red meat and live animal value chain to fortify the region's red meat and live animals value chain technology and knowledge hubs, as well as public-private producer partnerships and the responsible use of natural resources.
AU IBA provides the platform, and it says, yes, a scorecard, look at your weaknesses, look at your strengths, which areas are you going to strengthen, where are the low-hanging fruits, and then each country or any developer works using that segment to say, in Mozambique, we see that the strength is here, and we strengthen that. Then you take from what the farmers themselves are producing, they sell, there is tax that is retained, that tax goes into development. But the private sector, together with, in partnership with the producers, are deciding the direction. Government then is a supportive instrument.
Can we take some of that on the plane?
Live2Africa Project has also continued to support conservation and animal genetic resources through the Tuli Breeders Association, with fosters of the conservation of the Tuli breed. On 8th May 2023 in Harare, Zimbabwe, at the Livestock Identification Trust, the combined regional Tuli breed run is being launched.
The government of Zimbabwe fully appreciates the technical and financial support rendered by AU IBA, and in turn prioritizes breed improvement initiatives as outlined in our livestock growth plan. I would like to assure the region of the commitment by the government of Zimbabwe to ensure the transformation of the livestock sector by providing the necessary technical and institutional support. I would like to invite all stakeholders to continually partner government of Zimbabwe in support of the development of the livestock sector nationally, regionally and beyond, so that it can continue to significantly improve the livelihoods of many communities, farmers, and other stakeholders who depend on it. With these very brief remarks, I would like to officially launch the combined regional tulip breed run and training of the trainers program, officially launched. I thank you and wish you successful deliberations.
A training was later conducted on the use of breeding values that came out of the genetic analysis of 23 cattle breeds earlier conducted in South Africa.
You can use Tuli for other things. That Tuli is very versatile, and it is, because it's got its adaptability and its hardiness, it can carry a soft dairy herd in Africa. That's what its job is to take the genes of the soft dairy herd from Denmark and carry it in Africa.
To promote networking and collaboration among actors in the value chain, AU IBAR supported the establishment of regional networks such as the African Women in Animal Resources Farming and Agribusiness Network.
We were all out there doing our own thing, but we were not collaborating as women in Zimbabwe. Even at continental level, when I went for the first meeting, it was quite amazing to meet ladies from other countries doing animal resources, but we didn't know about them. Neither did they know about us. Most of our ladies were trying to do something, but they were not thinking big in terms of export. They were just happy if I have my 5 goats, if a neighbor buys one, then it's okay, you know, I can pay the school fees, that sort of thing. But now, having gone through the training, we've partnered organizations like Zimtrade in Zimbabwe. We've worked with Ministry of Women's Affairs and done some capacity building of what it is to run an enterprise. They see the scope of us growing in terms of business and making business profitable. We also found support from government, for instance, to launch our network. We had the Deputy Minister of Agriculture come and support us. We are now working with other organizations that see value in what we are doing.
2A2EV benefited immensely through the Live2Africa grant. The grant helped us to be established in the first place because a few years ago there was no 2A2EV, it didn't exist. There were small collaborations between VEEs in Africa before, maybe unilateral, bilateral discussions, and in some cases regional discussions as well, but there was no overarching association for veterinary education in Africa. It now exists. That it took a tremendous effort that was well administered by AU IBAR, and all the VEEs came together. We established a structure. We established all the rules for our association, and we are now running. So we've achieved many other things as well, apart from just becoming established. That was the first point. But in 2022 we already hosted the first conference for veterinary education, specialist conference for veterinary education on the continent. That was hosted in South Africa. That was the most recent meeting that we held.
To promote the harmonization of national livestock early warning systems, AU IBAR and several partners have provided support towards the harmonization of existing livestock early warning systems. A study to establish the existing livestock early warning systems in the 7 member states of IGAD region was conducted by consultants with the support of AU IBAR.
The outcomes of the study were, 1, we already have existing early warning systems within the countries. But again, 2, is that the existing early warning systems are solitary. They are not talking to each other within the countries. And then we also have early warning systems that are cutting across regions, systems that are cutting across regions, which can be very good lessons to move forward. But again, we also have early warning systems that are only within countries, but are not extended to the whole region, the IGAD region.
The other thing also, the body conditions of the animal. Animals are very clever animals. They are very clever. Camels has got their own body indicators. They even indicate when it's coming to rain. So community has got their indigenous knowledge practice system.
From 27th to 28th April 2023, a regional stakeholders validation workshop on the developing and sustaining of integrated livestock early warning and enhancing timely action system in the IGAD was held. In the Central African region, AU-IBAR and ECAS helped the region's potential poultry business expand with the goals of improving input systems, decreasing reliance on imports, and increasing earnings. It is anticipated that the regional poultry value chain will be linked up with national actors for a public-private partnership. Investment proposals from stakeholders will be reinforced by increased capacity development and better matching of investments for growth and expansion.
Live2Africa program is about the development of animal resources. It is very important to incorporate animal welfare within this program, because then it brings a consciousness towards promoting the improvement of animal welfare within the continent, because that is fundamental to the achievement of the intentions of the Live2Africa program.
Yes. We hope that the impacts of the Live2 project will lead to see the project goal of increased systematic capacity of continental, regional, and national livestock sector for the sustainable transformation of the African livestock sector by giving effect to the Livestock Development Strategy for Africa, LIDESA, and other key continental instruments such as the Animal Health Strategy for Africa, the Animal Welfare Strategy, and the Agenda 2063.